Hi, Hans.
Hi.
There we go. Yay.
Um, I, I'm not the broad. I don't know, 16 to 8, the camera I've got here on my laptop.
Your connection's breaking up really bad. You sound like a robot.
Oh, yeah. So okay, I'll try it on another computer. So I get out on my link on my PC. See you in a second.
Okay, sounds good. So we're running a little late or a little early, depending on where you are. We're having a little bit of a fun connection process. One of the benefits of the Arcanum is that there's 90 different countries represented. One of the bad sides is that only some of us participate in daylight savings time. So this is like the second or third time that they scheduled a start time on my calendar that wasn't actually the start time for them. So, but hopefully we're going to fix it. Can you hear me now?
Hi, yeah.
That's a little better.
So is it? Oh dear. Yeah, we are too far.
Too far across the world.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well.
Yeah, that's the word now.
We'll wing it. I can hear you. It's much better than it was, so I think it'll be fine. Let's go in. Okay, so do you have your images in the community, or did you have somewhere else that you wanted to show them from?
I think Arcanum side is quite a. I thought I could use the thought I had until our hangout together. Whole file on my PC, but I couldn't go. I could go to and the pictures, submitted them, and we can look at them and or in my Google account. I have these things.
So Hans, do me a favor and go up to at the top of the screen, right in the middle here, there should be a whole bunch of little icons. The fourth one over has the bars. Let's take that down from HD to a lower setting and see if that helps with the audio, because I'd rather be able to hear you than see you, because I can do the screen share. So if you want to click that down one or two notches. Yes, that's much better. Okay. Yay. Now I can understand.
This one?
Yes, better.
Oh, right.
Okay. So I see 10 images in level 9.
On my screen?
No. I'm looking in the community right now. Are those 10 images in level 9? Those are what we're looking at?
What? Because we have actually never met on air. I guess from level 4, we ought to discuss whatever you want. I'm up to.
Okay. Well, I'd like to take a look at some of the levels. Did you get to do your level 4 critique in your first cohort, or did we just skip that entirely? Because you moved at level 4.
That's right. Let me see. What did I have? My first stuff I put in.
Did you get to do it in your first cohort?
Pardon? Yes, I got it. Yes, I did.
Okay, then we can just go with level 9. I'm fine with that. I see. Okay. I see 10 images here. So why don't we?
Yeah.
Why don't we just roll through all 10?
Okay. I still not to be the best ones I ever shot, but the ones I thought that would be worthwhile to create.
Good. That's much better theory for critique.
So, okay. Great. Yep. That's the first one.
So what I'd like to do is
that's a kind of.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is I would like you to tell me a little bit about creating the image, anything that you struggled with, what you were looking to do, and then I'd like you to grade it on a scale of 0 to 3. 0 being, why the hell would I bring this to my master? And 3 being, this is the best I have to offer. And then I'll give you some feedback from my perspective.
Grading system as well. Okay. So what I do on my Facebook account, I'm as well in some community mastering the model shooting with light, with Felix Conce and stuff like this. From time to time, I get awesome portrait shoots on a good background, and then they wine crates. And in dark mood where you goes back into darkness. It's the first shot I ever tried of guys in front of the camera. I think it was Sunday, something around this. The boxes, I threw the light on them. So I say, or let it put, it got those things on my screen, and I see, of course, much more detail than we can see now in this reduced image here. So this has been reduced to web space and down calculated for detail. You can still hear me, Jessica?
Yes, it's still
Jessica?
it's still still a little staticky. I think what I'm gonna have you do is go up and just turn your camera off so that the only thing broadcasting is your audio, and we'll see if that helps. It might just be a bad connection. I'm also not sure if it's near you. Let's see if that helps. I'll turn mine down too. Okay.
So 1, 2, 1, 2.
That sounds better.
Okay.
Okay. Hopefully it'll play clear on the replay. I think we have a little bit of a delay too, which is why we're talking over each other a little bit, because I think you're not hearing it until after I start talking and vice versa. So we'll just have to move around it. It'll be okay.
Okay.
So, okay. So this image, I like the quality of light and the position of it. I think it's a little bit underexposed. I'd like to see a little bit more of the detail, particularly in his shirt right around here. I feel like his arms kind of blend into his body a little bit, and we're losing a lot of the shadow. And then he melds right into her because she's wearing a dark color as well. So I think a little more light in the dark shadow areas would have been helpful. I love the catch lights in her eyes. Those are really beautiful. The hand's a little bit awkward. It's a little posed for me. And you generally don't want to turn men's faces away from the camera because whatever is closest to the camera appears largest. So if you have boys particularly, like girls, we don't mind turning their faces away because if we do, it actually slenderizes their jawline. So right here, we have this big round face that comes more square, and you can see it kind of go from square to triangular, which is great for the girls because we like that slimming look on the face. But when you take a guy and instead of having him here where we get that square jawline, we're going here, then we're making it very angular and it starts to come off almost a little feminine, which, you know, most boys won't be too happy about. So the angle there, I think, is an issue. Also, we put a lot of information from the side of his face that wasn't necessary. Like I've never had a parent come in and be like, oh, you know, if you could make sure to get his ears, that'd be great. You know, so like really from like right here to like right here is essentially non-important information in the face. So I'm not.
Jessica.
Yes.
I want to take in this picture on my software, and can as well screen to my honor. If I push a certain what I have on my screen. No, what
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
So see what I see.
The audio is awful. Let's I'll tell you what, hang on. I'm gonna I don't know what else to do to help with the audio quality for this one.
Get your live drive microphone into the computer, right?
Say that again?
A microphone into the computer.
It's not the audio sound. I can hear you fine. It's the connection between us is coming off very pixelated and staticky, and I think it's the connection strength, not the quality of the audio. The mic's fine. It's probably the wireless.
The thing is that I hear you 100%.
That's awesome. Well, let me.
You can just clobber me over. You want.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's try this then. Maybe I'll go through and just give you my thoughts on all the images and do a quick critique of them. And then we can do some feedback another way. Also, we could try a different medium. Do you have Skype?
Yes, I have Skype. No? Or is it?
Okay, well, let me, hang on a sec. Give me a second. We'll see if we can figure this out.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I'm going to send you my Skype name in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, give me just a second here. We'll see if we can fix it. So if you want to drop me a link there, then I think what we'll do is we'll see if we can get the Skype to hook up, and if I can hear you on there, then I can show the images on Google, and we'll do a workaround. Can you see that in the chat?
Good heavens, no. I see you. Okay. I do see, but I don't see anything in the chat.
Okay, hang on one second.
Oh.
Technical difficulties.
Yes, I love it.
Okay, so how about now?
See, now then on the right-hand side, chat in German. Your chat news in there. I don't see anything. I put in a chat. Hello. Do you see my hello on the chat news? Oh God.
Yes, I do.
I don't see anything.
Okay, outside of our window, it's also in just the Google Hangout chats, the one that we were talking on a minute ago when we realized that we were on daylight savings time. Okay, I can see.
Yes.
There we go. Okay.
Yes, I see it. It's JLark.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yes, I saw that all the something different.
Okay, so just go on and drop me a line on Skype.
I said I'm the dumbest member of your cohort.
No, I can think of a few others that hold that. I hope they're all watching too. Now they're all going to be like, oh no, is it me?
Okay.
You can send me yours too.
Okay, Skype. I go. Oh my god.
So you should be able to log into Skype and just hit the plus and then type in my name, and that should send me a message then. And we'll see if we can make that work.
You said, where's that? I'm just right now crazy.
That's okay. Take your time.
I've got. Okay. JLark. It sent you contact on Skype.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Contact request. Okay, so I'm going to accept that, and then I'm going to give you a call on that. And we'll see if that works better. And then I'm just going to have to figure out the audio problem.
Okay, hello, this is Hans.
This sounds way better. Now you sound great.
But we have a delay of about 5 seconds.
Yeah, but whatever you just did to the sound, now you're clear as a bell.
No, I don't.
Okay, so I'm gonna mute your. Now you can't hear me? Can you hear me now? You do?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why, but that's fixing the audio problem on Google. I don't know if it's a different mic or what's working. Okay, well then I'm just gonna keep that in and we'll just stay on Skype and you can. Okay, that's totally fine. Can you hear me okay on Google? Okay. This is fun. Okay, I think I figured it out though. For whatever reason, that's fixing it. So on your Skype, yeah, mute Skype and unmute Google now because I can hear you fine. And we'll just leave it connected. I'm fine with that. So you want to unmute Skype. Or I'm sorry, unmute Google. No. So you're muted here on Google Plus. So you just have to click the mic. There we go.
Mic again.
All right, let's see if that works. I think it's okay now.
Hello, Jessica.
Okay, perfect. It's better. Whatever that did, that fixed it.
Clear.
Okay, great. Okay, let's move on then.
I won't touch
I
any.
fixed it. You can hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. Good. Me too. Let's move forward. Okay, so we'll go back to this then.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about this one. Can you see that?
I have to say, Jessica, if you can hear me,
I
you can
can.
see the quality of the image is nowhere near the one I have. The quality of the picture that much better.
I'm totally okay with that. My only argument to that when people say that,
Okay.
because that's often true of everyone, is that most people are seeing the quality of the image online. In the
Okay, then it's fine. Yep.
Yeah, so the problem is that we live in a digital age now. So while the quality of the images are obviously much better when we have the high res and they're on our calibrated screens and they're beautiful or they're in print, 90% of the people that see our work now see our work via digital mediums and websites, each of which have their own sort of upload and processing. So I've noticed like color variations that are sometimes subtle and sometimes not, just between uploading to Google Plus as opposed to uploading to Facebook. So that's no longer an excuse that I accept as valid for anything that's going on. Although there are some really good links if you go online and do a search for exactly what the uploading process and post-processing is that each of the sites do. You can even download profiles now to sort of auto adjust so that it looks the best that it can on each individual platform.
Cool.
That being said, I think that we get enough of an idea that it still works. My other concern is that for most of our clients, we're usually providing prints instead of digital. So they're not backlit like they are on screen. So if it looks even the slightest bit dark on a screen, it's going to look twice as much on print. But I have no doubt that we're losing image quality in here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll never say that again.
Okay, tell me about this photo.
Okay, so I think the pose is quite nice. I always if I sort of push the trigger, like the hair on the neck camera right, you're doing a kind of curve there, down there, and it makes look very tiny and unnatural. I tried to kick Milo on the back as I saw it when I loaded it. Jesus Christ, I've been concentrating on the wrong stuff there. I should have seen that. I think that the shadow, big shadow on the other camera left large. I should have tried something different, and this all together look unnaturally thin. Else, I'm quite happy with the shot.
I like this one too. I think the light's really beautiful on her face. I love the catch lights. I love that we can see the blue in her eyes. I think she has beautiful facial features, and the light is doing well at accentuating them so that we can appreciate them. Her hair's gorgeous. I don't know how much you went in and touched up stray hairs. She might just have really... Okay.
Dog.
So she has really
no touch up on the hair.
She has really beautiful, perfect hair that you hope everyone comes in with. I'd probably go in and just touch out these couple of strays because it's so perfect. And this is the only giveaway. These would go for me. Along with the lines in her neck here. You did a lot of touch up on the skin and the smoothing on the face, but you didn't follow it down to the edge of the shirt, and it needs to be, because that is part of why I think Steve gave you the critique that the face looks over processed. I don't think that it does. I think that the accentuation of retouching the skin on the face without following it down is what creates the illusion that it's over processed. I think the skin retouching is well done. I just think we need to pay attention to these little lines and imperfections on the neck if we're going to take everything out up here.
Okay, get the point. Yep.
Okay, so this is a really beautiful variation of that between low and high. Totally different mood, totally different feeling. It's a little hot for me right here, specifically the variation between the two eyes, because this one's in so much shadow. So I would have liked to have pulled the light over just a little bit more and maybe Rembrandt lit. We have like just the start of it right here. But I think if we'd pulled it over just a little bit further, we would have caught a little more light in this eye. There's a little too much variation there for me. Same thing. I'd go in and just kind of touch up the lines on her skin and her neck. Make sure that if you're skin retouching, you have to retouch all of the skin that's visible. It's all or none. Otherwise, it starts to look a little plastic. I love the eyes and how they pop. I think you're accentuating all her features well. And I love the color with the blue and the rosy lips. I think that works really well.
Great, thank you.
This one too, same thing. I think you're not overexposed, but you're just a little hot on it in the really bright highlight areas. I think just 1/3 a stop down would have made the difference, because I think the light is beautiful on this side of her face. And I think it's just a little bright here, especially since we're almost it's almost a very, very subtle split light, which isn't usually very flattering to females. You're doing it subtle enough that we're not getting that harsh line down, so I think it works. But I'd like to see the same sort of contrast that we're picking up in the shadows that we're getting to accentuate the cheekbones and the nose here. I'd like to see a little more on this side. We're getting this very flat kind of feeling to this side of her face because there isn't enough shadow to bring out the contours and the shape of her face. A few little hairs like this would go for me down here by her shoulder. Some of it's just having her grab her hair, especially when it's super fine like that, and just having her touch it up and move it every couple of frames. Those blue eyes are piercing. You're doing a beautiful job of capturing that, and the light on the lips is really flattering. Overall, it's still a really good shot, and you do very well with flirting with really bright light without overexposing, which is hard to do. Okay, tell me about this one.
Those red poles are used for construct seal, and I thought I was looking for something I could add of portrait shoots. So all that this guy, it's been, I think we did let the guy lean on it to get a pose on it. As always, it's not flare.
Mm-hmm.
Patch JLark. She had this on the throat.
Yeah.
Kind of surgical plaster stuff. If it's worthwhile, I often retouching. Important in this image is that I got a natural laughy, which was very, very hard. That was the reason the guy that I took him in.
Okay. I mean, unless they want to document it, I'd be inclined to go in and just retouch this out and just heal and clone it. Because I do think it's distracting, and I think everybody that looks at this image is going to be asking what's on his neck. So that totally steals the limelight from him, and the portrait should be about him. I'm not opposed to having the red pole or the prop, but I think because it's right against the edge of the image that we're not quite sure what its purpose is, as opposed to if we had left some space on the other side of it a little bit more. The only thing that I don't like about it is that your position of the light is conflicting with the pole and creating this line of shadow down the back of his neck and his ear, which I think is distracting. So if we'd pulled the light over a little bit more, then we would have had even lighting, but this really harsh shadow line going down the back is bothering me. You could have also backlit it and put another light behind him here, just to counteract that, so that wasn't the only one. We still got a little bit of the glare in the glasses, and I'm not sure exactly what that is picking up, but that's tough. Glasses are definitely one of those difficult things that you got to be really really careful with, and as long as you have the lenses moving away from the light, it usually works. You just have to be careful about what other reflective surfaces are going to eat the light. So when the strobe's firing, anything that's a really bright color, especially if it's pastel-y, will pick up. So obviously there was something that had blue-green behind you in front of him that's picking up the glare, and that's what we're seeing is the reflection there. Men tend to keep a little more of the skin texture, so I'm okay with that. But I think I'd still go in and just touch up just a little bit. You have to kind of like touch and go with it. It's easier with kids than it is with grown men, because then you end up losing all the hair follicles and they start looking really plastic if you really skim retouch. So it's like everything with a grain of salt. I would definitely go in and touch up these little blemishes in the wall here. These would all go. I would take this whole seam out right here and just heal and clone it out so that it's just a solid wall behind him, and then a couple of the other dots. He does not have a strong jawline to begin with, so again, a lot of it's the positioning of his face. He's definitely someone that you're going to want to shoot almost straight on rather than having him at like a 3/4 profile, because 3/4 slims the chin, and we have a very angular chin to begin with. The other thing that you want to have him do when you have anybody that doesn't have a strong jawline is you want to have them come forward with their chin towards the camera, and so it makes a huge difference, because he's not only turning away, but he's also sitting with his chin back, so you have like the neck like even with the side of his face, so there's no neck and jawline, as opposed to if you square him off, it's going to naturally give him a more square jawline because he's facing forward because of the shape of our skulls naturally. And then you want to have him come forward a little bit more just to separate that, because the more, if you watch, especially if you have side lighting, the more you pull forward, the more it creates a line of separation with the jaw, between the jaw and the neck. The further back he goes, the more this will start to blend in, and you can't really see the separation between the chin, the jaw, and the neck. So things to keep in mind when you're shooting them.
Cool, thank you.
See, much better. Look at, it's so subtle between, even though he's still kind of standing off center and sort of turned to the side, having the face come forward makes a huge difference in how the jawline looks. Obviously, he's a different person too, so his jawline's a little different to begin with. Yes. But with men, you want to kind of square it off. There's very few men that you can do that head turn thing with and have them still look really masculine. But this is beautiful. I love this one. The color theory works really well. We pick up a little bit of the green in his hair, but it doesn't bother me too much because I like the texture of it, and I think it works with the way that he styles it. The blue with the eyes and the sweatshirt work really well. You know, people don't think about that when they think about color coordinating, that you can color coordinate to eye color and with girls like lipstick and makeup colors, but it makes a difference in the overall visual appearance, and it's working really well here with all of these cool tones. And it helps the texture and helps him sort of pop from the image because the only warmth is on his skin. I'd like to see a little bit more highlight with the catch lights in his eyes. We have them a little bit, but they shouldn't be in the pupil. They should be around the iris. So I always try, if we could take these and just shift them up a little bit, then it makes the iris pop, which is the color we want, because you're not going to get pop from the pupil because they're just black, or the red if we hit the back of the retinas. But there's nothing that we're trying to accentuate with the pupil. It's always with the iris. So having the highlights around really helps, especially with blue eyes. It really helps it pop a lot more. But I love the texture. I love the retouching. It's simplistic. This image doesn't look like it's retouched. It looks like it's him. And that is always a caveat for me, because it should be like makeup. It should be enough to accentuate everything that's wonderful and minimize anything that would be perceived as a flaw without everybody saying, oh, that's a really nice retouched photo. Like if I get complimented on my makeup, I know that I overdid it that day. Okay. So this one we're struggling with the highlights in the glasses again. Just a little. She looks like she has a really strong prescription too. So her eyes actually look magnified a little bit because of the curvature of the lens with the glass.
This has entering out.
I'm sorry, say that again.
This girl has an illness. Her eyes are bulging.
Okay.
So,
okay.
And I try to reduce this as much as possible, and she has a prescription, yes, on the glasses.
Okay.
So, it wasn't.
Okay. So there's a few things that you can do. Facial placement has a lot to do with how the eyes are perceived. Now, normally we're looking for people to make their eyes bigger, because the girls like they call them the bedroom eyes or doe-eyed. Like girls like the big eyes, which is why they're always taking pictures of themselves up above, because whatever's closest to the camera looks bigger. So if I lean the camera towards me, it makes a huge difference. Watch just my eyes. If you shoot from a lower angle, my eyes look much smaller, because in order for me to look down at you, I have to drop my lids to keep it. So the further I am from you, and this can move with your angle too, because obviously you don't want to be shooting up my nose, but if you're shooting from a lower angle, then naturally my eyes, the lids will come down in order for me to focus at you while I'm looking. So you can see that even if you're just looking in a mirror, just by moving your eyes around depending on what you're looking at changes how much of it. So if instead you're shooting from up here, then in order to look at you, I have like no lids whatsoever, because I'm making eyes at the camera, and you can see the whites under my eyes. So part of the problem with this one is that we shot her from an angle where you're above her, which is going to accentuate the big eyes. So because we're here and we're just a little bit above her here, if we had brought the camera angle down so that instead of lifting her chin she had to lower it, then that would actually by extension close the lids a little bit, and it would help to minimize that if we wanted to make the eyes smaller. Bringing the chin down too, the opposite of the girls, like now we're squared off and we're looking right towards you. If we had turned her to the side, that would make a huge difference in the perspective too. Because if you're doing straight on and looking at them, as opposed to if we turned her and brought her to the side, like watch how much the perspective changes and how much smaller this eye looks from this one. Like it's almost like Picasso-y in the interpretation. So instead of having her here where she's looking right at you and coming up with the chin, but looking up, which requires her to open her eyes wider, bringing her down, pulling the chin down with it, and then having her look down towards the camera. See the difference? So they're little subtle things, but
well
if you're working
demonstrated.
with it. Yeah, so it works the opposite way too, because you have those people, like my daughter's eyes disappear when she smiles. Like she turns Asian because she smiles like me. So they go away, you know, but it's the same thing. If I need her to look up at me, then by extension, she has to open her eyes when she's looking up as opposed to down. So you can open and close eyes that way and make them bigger and smaller. I love the smile and the bright teeth. I'd go in and touch out just a few of these hairs around the part. These ones would go. And then you just have to change her sitting position a little bit. You have her squared off to you with the face, but then sitting to the side. And if you had her scoot back so that her butt is back in the chair, but have her lean forward towards the camera, then we would have gotten rid of this little pouch, because that's really just because of the way that she's sitting. As we sit down and we relax, we're more compacted. So she's actually hunched over a little bit forward, which is adding to the midsection. Where if we had her sit up nice and straight and then bent at the waist towards the camera, it takes away the stomach, and actually minimizes and makes the waistline more angular. But the color is beautiful. The light is gorgeous on it. I think it works really well as a whole. I think lighting is definitely a strength of yours. This one's beautiful too. We kept enough of it that I can see the color. I'd like it toned down just a little so we can see just a little bit more of the texture and the detail here. Same thing, we're retouching the face, but we're leaving these necks out. That's gonna be something that I'm gonna slap you on the wrist for really hard at level 14 if you're still doing that. It's an oversight
you bet
thing.
I still enough chance to slap.
Yeah, exactly. I think it works well. You like to do the side lighting, which I think is good, but I think you have to pay attention just a little bit to where you're angling them in relation to the light. Like we don't really need the highlight on this side of the face because we're broad lighting her. So with women, they're always trying to make themselves look more slender because slender is equated to youth and beauty. So we don't want to broad light the whole side of their face. We don't necessarily care about her shoulder or back either. That's not essential information. So I think if we turn down the light on this side, and it'd be good for you, I think, to play with just a single light, but lighting so that this is where the majority of our light is on this side, and this side is a little bit softer. And so that we're also getting even tone because there's a lot of color variation because of the light. You've got all this brightness here, and then it gets really dark and tan on her skin, on her neck, and down the décolletage because of the lack of light over here. So I would work on that. Her bangs are making me crazy, but that might just be a bad haircut. But that's something that I would have been spending 10 minutes playing with her hair because that's bugging the hell out of me, which isn't necessarily a photography thing, but I do think that as photographers, it's our job to make sure that they look flawless. So something has to change about that. Don't let her wear that haircut. Or the angle has to change because I think it works great here with the shorter bangs. We lose her a little bit. Here the highlights are hot. I'm losing this shoulder and she's blending into the backdrop. I like the high key look and I like the white on white, but it's definitely gotta keep separation from the background. She can't just melt into it, which is what she's doing here. The light in her eyes is beautiful. Chin forward and down is going to be a good one for you to remember because again, like you can see right here specifically, we start to lose her chin into her neck. There isn't enough of a separation. So you can see this, like, we get the highlight and the sharp line right here, but then we kind of lose it here and it kind of dissolves in and fades. Having her pull her neck out, it's almost like, I call it the turtle move. It's like sticking your turtle head out of your shell, like to the point that she feels silly and uncomfortable. But if she pulls it all the way forward and just comes down like an inch and a half, it creates that really strong jawline all the way around the chin and the jaw, which is really flattering. But I think the color works. I like the high key. I like the simple clothes in the background. I just want to see those lines separating her shoulders from the backdrop there. She looks like she's ready to go home in this one. So is it?
It was supposed Clyde look.
Okay. Are you purposefully picking out backgrounds that match their clothes, or is this just coincidence?
I think it is the same background.
Okay.
I couldn't afford so many backgrounds of
Okay. So we have a white one, a green one, and like a grayish black one, are like our three main ones that we're working with right now.
No, this stuff there, that's an
Okay.
olive background. This greenish one. I have a roll of black knife.
This one doesn't bother me. I think it works with the cool tones because she's got them, he's got them, and the background has them. And we have those nice shadows. So this is what I was talking about with the white one before it. Like, there's very clear lines from her clothes that I can follow the separation. But this is another one that, if it's not lit properly, you could very easily lose that and fade it into the background like we did the white shirt. Here it works. So this is what the lighting should look like. We should be able to see very clear lines that separate them from the background, which you did here. The light's beautiful on this one. I'm not a huge fan of the expressions in this one. He can kind of get away with it, but they look a little blank and a little bored. So I don't know that this one would win for me necessarily. I like to see that little triangle of space because the way that the human eye reads is from solid to solid. So right now it reads that her body starts here and ends here. And you can get away with it because he's obviously a different person. But if we had pulled that arm out a little bit more and we could see a little bit of the backdrop there, it'll really separate and accentuate the line of her body and the curves, which is all girls are. I think I also would have had her take like just another half a step this way so that and had her keep leaning the way she was so that the curve would actually indent further and then come out and we could follow the line of the hips. There's not quite enough of a lean for me here because I really want to accentuate this curve in and make sure I have a good indent. I think the light's beautiful though. I like the color on it. It has almost like a painting kind of feeling with the way that it's working. I'm not a huge fan of the chair. I think I might have actually gone in and cropped it a little closer or changed my perspective a little bit more to have it out of the shot and more behind him. But I think it works overall. This is definitely one I would see parents buying or them buying if they were a couple. Like I can definitely see it still being portfolio worthy. It works. His hands are a little bit awkward right there. I probably would have just separated them and not had him hold on to him, but just had the arm placement. I love. It's just the fingers that are a little awkward because we amputated them at the knuckle here. And then we amputated these ones visually because he's holding on to them. So, and I probably would have lost the Fitbit. But other than that, I think it works together. I think that's one of the better ones. So looking through all 10, I would say, oh, wait, go back. Looking at all 10, I would say that one, That one. These three of her. That one. I would say 1, 2, 3, 4 are your strongest ones of the 10. That one, I think you can do better. That wouldn't make the portfolio for me if I was picking to sell you, that one would go. This one works, that one works, that one works. But I would only pick one of these two, even though they're both beautiful images, because they're too similar. So when we're picking images to show clients, what we don't want is very similar shots of the same model, because it makes it look like you don't have diversity in your work. So these ones would almost both work, but the head placement's very similar. So you have the dark key and the high key, but the facial placement is very similar. That one we shift it, so this one would probably go, and I would keep this one and that one. I love that one. I think this is a stronger shot than that one, but I don't like that we don't have the separation. If you can go in and pull the highlights back a little bit, or sort of faux create the line of her shirt, this one would stay for me. And that one would probably make it as well. I do like that one a lot, but I think those are your strongest shots of the bunch. So that's it. That's all I got for you.
Jessica, I have to say, of these shots, I just wanted to add that none of these would have considered. Oh, you didn't get my best shots after I saw flaws in it, and which I would have. This would push up the critique better.
Yeah, no, that's
Understand?
good. I like it way better when you guys bring shots that are problematic or that you struggled with, because if you bring your best work and you know it's your best, then chances are it's a good shot and there isn't a lot to critique. So it's an ego stroke to hear, it's beautiful, I have nothing to offer. You killed the light, you killed the pose, everything looks wonderful. And that makes you feel good, but it doesn't help you improve. So kudos to you for doing that.
It's been really good, and you know, I go of this critique. Okay, all of them are quite nice, so it's really good. I loved it. Thank you very very much. And the question is, I think, which are really good. Worth. I'm sure we will have another hangout then on this.
Yeah, we get to do it again at level 14 and level 19. So usually what I'm looking for, now you're coming halfway in between, but usually by level 9, what I'm looking for in the second sphere is for you to really start showing continuity, which I already see in your work. So I feel confident that if I took your 10 images and put them in with 10 images from every apprentice, that I could pick out probably at least 8 out of the 10 as your work. So that consistency of style is what I'm really looking for in sphere 1 as we move into the next one. Like level 14 and level 19, anything that I'm beating on you in level 4 and 9 is what I'll do. So for you, it's going to be necklines. You don't like to retouch the neck, you just retouch the face. That's going to be something that I'm looking for you to pay attention to. Highlights, you like to flirt with danger in the high highlight category, and you're really good at it because you don't lose the information much, but just sort of mastering it. If you really like that high key feel, that might be part of your style, but if you want to flirt with danger, you have to learn how to walk the tightrope and not lose the information, especially when you're shooting white clothes on a high key background. Which I think you're like 80% of the way there. It's just going to be fine tuning. And flyaways. You have a lot of girls that have really beautiful hair where almost everything's in place. So when their hair's almost perfect, it becomes more important to retouch the stray hairs than if you have like this sort of like electrocuted poodle look that I rock. because then the hair can be wild and out of place and you can get away with it. But when they have very fine, straight hair, it's very noticeable that there's flyaways. So paying attention to some of the outliers, I think that'll be important. And then just playing around with which side of the face you're lighting for different genders and different facial shapes to be able to accentuate them. I think those are all things that you should be looking at moving forward. But I think that you have a lot of natural raw talent. You have an obvious understanding of lighting and where the lights should be and in what capacity, as opposed to the exposure and the kind of the way that you like to shoot and how you want that light to represent itself on them. I think that you're like 75 to 80% of the way to mastering that and really soaking in your style. I think lighting is going to be a big part of your style, that's going to manifest in camera as opposed to in post, where a lot of my style definitely comes in post with the color theory and the way that I retouch. So you're definitely like an in-camera kind of guy, I think. You're a little heavy-handed on some of the retouching on the face. I'd like to see just a little more texture, or see you retouch. Do you ever do frequency separation, or what's your retouching process for skin?
So what I do is I do the raw color adaptation and texture and the lighting a bit. So I have wrote on for frequency separation. Which I like a lot. So I've an act rather than burn. Act did Kanza stuff, and that's transparent for dark a lot.
Okay.
I do this as well as and liquefying.
Okay.
I have to admit it, but just thing. Once you went to our cohort, posted the image we did say is the first girl you showed us. So yeah, you can see the difference and see what I did. So I look at it. It's in the House of Light.
Okay. I will do this. Okay, so you passed level 9, flying colors. You wanted to be more challenged. Can you define that a little bit for me and what you're looking for specifically?
Let's put it like this. I loved what you had about red stuff. But this I'm concentrating on, so a head shooter, more or less.
Okay.
I come from nature. That's what I did, and there's so many absolutely unsung. If say setup perspectives, you know.
Okay.
To get this right, I would like to try to do how you say short exposure. You can see a cup of coffee springing out because you let drop. I'll do it. I'll do anything. I think I would like to broaden my perspective on photography. Regardless of how many wonderful you can play around with. So my first priority is I do some industrial. Would be an area I do have some more on this. I don't have a whole series. I did. So there's loads of room. Difficult for me to limit what I want.
Okay.
Perhaps that's all right, but you're here to teach me patience and to narrow my view on those things that.
Okay, so you're past level 9 now. I need you to go into the Arcanum community and request to level up because I think you're still actually sitting at level 8. So I can level you up to 9 and then you can request again and I can level you up to 10. And then what I would like you to do for your level 10 before you start on the next sphere is I would like you to go scour online and find, let's say, 27 images that you are very inspired by. These should be images that are basically ones that you say, I wish that was my name on that image. The kind of work, the kind of work that you are inspired by and the kind of work that you want to be creating that you feel like your current skill level and experience. And just post
it to a certain area.
I'm sorry?
To a certain topic.
It can be any kind of photography you want. If you know where you are and you know what you want to specialize in and you know, like, I'm a headshot person or people person, then they can be all portraits. If you're looking to expand and explore, you can post macro, you can post landscape, you can post pictures of puppies. I don't care as long as when you look at that image, it moves you.
Okay.
And then
right, why it moves me?
Yes, exactly. So I want a collection of all the images, and then for at least let's say 6 of them, I would like you, whichever 6 move you the most, I would like you to kind of break down what it is about that moves you as an image. And then what you can tell about the image from a technical standpoint. So maybe it moves you because of the colors or because of the raw emotion. But then look at it and break it down and go, and it's obvious to me that there's at least 3 lights in here. It looks like it was shot with this. I bet this happened. This is what I can break down about what the setup was for creating that image. Because learning how to dissect them and understand what it is that makes it a great image helps you build and create images like that as you move forward.
Cool.
Sound good?
Great.
Okay. And then for level 10.
Sounds awesome. The only thing.
Go ahead.
Yes, carry on.
Okay. For level 10, what I have most of them do is
No, it's okay. I just wanted to starting today.
Go ahead, you go.
Okay, I'll finish now. I just wanted from starting from Saturday, I'm off for 10 days, and I don't know how I will be able to post. I'll try, but here it's not lack of that I'm abroad then.
Okay. Well, that's totally fine. I don't mind if you're absent while you're doing other things. I'm away anyway. I'm teaching this weekend in New York, so I won't be here all weekend anyway.
Okay, great.
So usually for level 10, I have my apprentices write me a review of their experience so far. If you want to write me something short, it can either be, I'm happy with this, I'm not happy with this. Or since you're just coming in, you can, instead of writing me a review of the first sphere, you can just write me a little note about what you're looking for in sphere 1 for the next 10 levels.
Okay.
And then that's it.
Great.
Was there anything else that you wanted to make sure we chatted about while you had my attention?
No. Perfect. I'm more than happy what I got out. So I truly have to limit your input, and I will replay this, I think. So audio with it as well, but I think I got everything. I got valuable information expected, so top notch.
Okay, great. All right, well, I will see you again at level 14, and we'll be doing a few hangouts for the group before then. In the meantime, if you need anything, drop me a line.
Okay, I'll do. So I have tons of pleasant people.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy the time.
Okay, sounds good. I'll talk to you soon.